Next up, we have Miss Juana Malone. Wonder who she is. Wonder where she is. No, but I actually am really excited to tell you about Miss Juana Malone. She is a phenomenal person that I personally have known for years. I mean, her perseverance and willingness to overcome virtually any obstacle has always been really, I guess, inspiring for me. So, Ms. Juana Malone is the executive director and CEO for Nevada Help Desk. She is an international operations and technology consultant, computer programmer, website designer, and app developer with more than 30 years of experience in the industry. She was awarded the Technology Woman of the Year by the National Center for Women and Informational Technology, the Vegas Community Tech Fund in 2018. She is certified as a green belt in Lean Six Sigma and offers expertise in customer relationship management and systems automation. She also is the executive leadership person with experience that extends to her Fortune 500 clients. Prior to starting her business in 1998, she worked for private, public, and government sections. She was appointed to the Nevada Governor's STEM Council in February 2020 and serves on various local, state, national boards and councils to help create and expand initiatives in STEM education job growth. Her career in technology, combined with her service in ministry, has afforded her the opportunity to travel to more than 30 states in the US and numerous places around the globe, including London, Kiev, which is in the Ukraine, Prague, which is in the Czech Republic, Rome, Brussels, Belgium. I mean, all kinds of places, and that's just to name a few. As the co-chair of the Urban Chamber of Commerce IT Roundtable and board member for the International Association of Microsoft Channel Partners, Las Vegas chapter, she is co-leading the effort to ensure every student, especially in Title I school districts, are equipped to compete in today's world filled with rapidly growing technological advances. And just the little cherry on top, she is an ordained youth pastor.
Wow, thank you so much, Meahel, for that wonderful introduction. And I have to share for those students that are on the line, some of the other travels that I've had the humble privilege to going to outside of London, England, United Kingdom, Paris, Rome, all over in Italy, and Brussels, Australia, Paris, like I say in France, the Aruba. And I'm saying this intentionally because of all the students from diverse backgrounds and your family from other places, and even Jamaica, and all of those that I've actually worked with, technology individuals that we've collaborated, and even through our ministry with the Boss, the Movement, and Global, and working with the technology teams from all over the world in birthing the vision for Alan Hattie Hollingsworth of Boss, the Movement. And so it's been an extraordinary career and life. And thank you, Meahel, for that wonderful introduction. And I promised a few minutes of Q&A because all of our programs, we're always talking about individuals in technology. And one of our students was like, you should be interviewed, Miss Juana. Nobody knows what you've done and in your background. So I agreed to be interviewed during Black History Month by our students. I'm going to bring Cameron back on here as well, and just answer some questions from both our audience as well as our students. And then we'll continue on in our program. And so I willingly said, yes, I will definitely be interviewed. And I welcome your questions and for a few minutes, and then we're going to continue on with our program. All right, Meahel or Cameron, any questions that you all have? You all have been a part of this journey with me. I want to say thank you again for helping us to really make this dream come alive in Nevada through Nevada Help Desk. You all are examples of what this dream and vision was meant to be and to do by getting trained, by getting your certification, and by becoming employed with our company. And so I'm going to make myself available for a few minutes, answer any questions, and then we'll continue on in our program.
Well, I guess the first question would be, what even, put Nevada Help Desk in your mind? How do you wake up one day and say, what's missing, within the tech industry? This, and I want to be the one to create this.
And I have to share with our audience, all of these questions, of course, are unscripted, and I encourage you to put yours in the audience in your comment section as well. But what inspired me to create Nevada Help Desk? I'm a spiritual person, so the honest answer is God. That's just my choice and belief. And so through prayer, just wanting to make a difference and wanting to see that, things, when you're in education, there ought to be a conversion that takes place. You shouldn't just go to school to learn and even to get certified, but how does it convert? How does it convert to employment or even entrepreneurship? So taking those three things and really developing a system. As you mentioned earlier, I am certified in Lean Six Sigma. And so I understand the language of excellence and I understand systems. And as a computer programmer by trade, all of those things combined together is how Nevada Help Desk was birthed and continues to thrive. So it's just a matter of that well-perfected recipe all coming together for the perfect solution in helping you all succeed. And as I always say in our open house closing, if you all can have a fraction of the opportunities that this industry has afforded me, I mean, one client alone, I yielded 7 figures just from one client alone over time. And so if a fraction of if you all can have a fraction of the opportunities that I have had in my 30-year career, I would say you all have definitely succeeded. And I look for you all to do well over and beyond the areas and accomplishments that I have achieved. I look for much greater from you all and the students that are following you in Nevada Help Desk.
I thought of something because you remarked how many different places you've been granted because of this technology opportunity. And people say like the internet allows people across the world to connect, and you took that literal. You've been connecting with people in person across the world. Like you took internet and you're like riding the internet around the world. And I thought that was just a fantastic thought. But I did find one question. Brian Goldstein from Brindley Middle School asked, with all of your accomplishments, what are you still inspired to accomplish from this point forward?
Well, right now, and I'm so grateful for that question, Brian, because Nevada Help Desk, and I'm kind of letting the cat out the bag, but we're going global in terms of the services that we offer. We're duplicating our services first on a national level. So we're duplicating our services, and I'm not going to name all the states, but I'll say in neighboring states that we're duplicating our systems that we've created. And so we're going to literally have a worldwide duplication of what started right here in Nevada. And we're not changing our name to Global Help Desk or anything like that. It is going to keep the name Nevada Help Desk because we're so proud of our start and we're so proud of the students that helped make us get to where we are. And we're keeping that name Nevada Help Desk and just expanding it to the world. Thank you, Brian, for that question. I feel like I'm in a hot seat. I don't think I've ever been interviewed by you guys, but anyway, I'm excited to share my story during this Black History Month. Any other
I definitely feel like it is like the first time we have like formally interviewed you. I think. Oh no, I just had the question. I had a question and it's skedaddled out of my brain. That might take me a second. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions in the chat while I think of one. Meahel, you got a question?
It's okay. Yeah, I can take over with a question. So throughout the entirety of your career, can you talk about your lowest point in which you thought there's no way I can maybe get past this, and the thought process that allowed you to prevail because you're here today and you're doing great things and you're going to keep doing great things. So let's hear about that.
Absolutely. I can tell you a low point in my career actually is it's what made me start business on my own. And I'm not going to say the name of the bank, but I worked for a national bank that has a national chain here. And during the early parts of my technology career, and I was still actually a student in college at the time. And my grandma had gotten sick, and which is my dad's mom, and I'm a daddy's girl. And so when I got news grandma was sick, I had not too long started this job that I had really wanted because they had amazing benefits. And while I was in college, the money was good. And anybody that knows me know that I've always worked multiple jobs and I've always done, many things. And so this particular job I really wanted, and I worked and I got it. And so I don't know, maybe 5-6 months into the job, grandma got sick. My dad told me, and he was going to Alabama. And so I was like, I'm coming with you. Remember, I'm a daddy's girl. And so long story short, I didn't have enough time to take off of my job. And they told me up front, well, you only have 2 days. And I said, well, I'm driving. It's going to take me almost 3 days to get to Alabama from Las Vegas. So they were like, you only have 2 days you can take off. You haven't earned enough time. And long story short, I took off because remember, I'm a daddy's girl. So I took off, I drove, and I got there and, to be there for my dad and grandma and all that. And then long story short, I was gone way too long and I ended up losing my job. And then grandma had passed away. So I stayed longer. I was like, well, I'm fired. Might as well stay even longer. Don't have a job. So anyway, I stayed weeks and weeks. But that brought me to a point in my life where I said, oh my gosh, I don't ever want to be in that position again where someone is controlling my time or telling me you can or cannot, go visit your family. And I was brought up family first, and so, the love that I have for my dad and my family, I had to make a choice in that moment. Do I want to keep my job or do I want to go support my family, my dad and my family and be there with him? At the time he lived in Detroit and I met him there. So long story short, I made that difficult decision, lost my job as a result of it, and but never looked back. I said that was the launching pad that I needed, and having that mindset to where I would not be in that position again. And that's why our company is the way that it is. Our students will tell you, they know our company, our business model, our gig economy model is designed around students. If they have to take off because their family is going away for a trip, or if they need to take off just for mental stress day or mental week, or just take off because they have to study and just because they're sick of looking at us for a month, if they want to take off, they know they can. All we ask is they just let us know. Let us know you're taking off. Let us know ahead of time. Be responsible about it. Make sure your teammates have your back, support you in any work. And then when you're back, you just pick off like you never left. We don't penalize our students. We have our whole business model worked around our students. And it was largely because of my experiences that led me to the point where I am now. So we have a very cool, plus when we're not in COVID, we're housed at Zappos. So we have our training center there. The students sleep with the fishes. They go and take stress breaks. And, we have an amazing time. Our high school and college students with Nevada Help Desk, but that's why. So if you got to take a month off or 2 months off or the whole summer, we don't care. And so we are built to, of course, they don't get paid while they take off, but they don't get fired either. So we are just so excited and they just pick up where we left. And that's how it started. Sorry for the long answer, but that's the truth. And that's the history of how our business model has come about.
That was fantastic and truly inspiring because, any longer with being home and working from your computer, it's just a better opportunity to have that, family first and working from at home and on your own time and everything. So yes, we have this question. Fran asks, how many participants are currently a part of Nevada Help Desk?
Oh, I'm so excited. Now this one I can share as well. It started off with our first phase in our beta test with, 10, 12 students when it started off. Then it grew. Then we had was now our Royal Tech team, and it grew to about 12 or so. And then we launched our multi-day classes, which went to our registration now. It was over 75 students. And then we grew again, and we just partnered with the city of Las Vegas, over 260 students now that we have that are registering. And then we grew to our weekend Saturday classes where we service students from throughout the state. That starts in elementary age schools, and that's through our nonprofit arm on Saturdays. And now we have our 3KS3Y project, which is 3,000 students over a 3-year period. And we are accommodating 1,050 students per year through our 3KS3Y project right here. And now with our expansion to our sister state, that number is exponentially growing. That program kicks off in April, and then we'll be duplicating in our first state and then all throughout the country. So thank you for that question. So we're excited. And I see a couple more questions on here. Let's see. It says, you want to read that? Any of our students want to read that question?
Noah Reed asks, when you were young, have you ever struggled in school? Which subjects and how did you persevere?
Oh, awesome question. I tell you, which school? Brindley Middle School. I tell you, you guys are really engaging. That is so awesome. Shout out to Brian Goldstein. I was young. My mom actually allowed me to attend a robotics camp when I was 7 years old. So I've been in this industry since 7. I've been in this world of technology since the age of 7, originally from Detroit, Michigan, the home of the robotic industry with the automobile and that whole history. I encourage you all to read the history of that. But yeah, when I was young, I struggled, and I don't know why, but I struggled with like government and history. In fact, I almost didn't graduate high school. I was a straight A student, and I got all the way to government because I had a monotone teacher that talked like this, and government was for 3 hours, and I just tuned him out because he was monotone for the whole 3 hours, just like that. And so my brain was like checked out after about 10 minutes, and but thankfully, he let me do a research paper and some other stuff, or else I would not have graduated high school because government, which I love now. I am so into government. So I think it was just the teaching style that hindered me in my block. But because as I got older, I love government. In fact, I'm active part. I serve with the congressional caucus every single year for about 20 years, actively involved in the congressional Black caucus in Washington, D.C., where I travel for decades now, and actively involved in government on local, state, and national levels. So love it, but never knew that when I was in high school because my teacher was monotone. So anyway, no diss against any of the monotone teachers out there, but 3 hours, it was just my brain. We're just talking about my brain. Didn't know how to convert all that. So anyway, yeah, passing through. I see your note, Ingrid. Hey, Ingrid. Oh, my next door neighbor from Detroit passing through. She's now, shout out to ATL, living in Atlanta, Georgia with her sister. Shout out. She actually is in my younger sister's age group, but our neighbor right across the street in Detroit. Wow, great to see you. Any other questions from our students before we move it right along? I had promised about 15, 20 minutes or so. And so any other final questions from Meahel or Cameron or our audience? I see Bromley, Fran Bromley, Norwood, Cheyenne High School. Shout out to Cheyenne High School. Wonderful questions. Thanks for the engagement. And you all are a wonderful audience. I didn't tell you, this video is going to be published in our digital video magazine, which we publish every month to all of the schools and parents, educators, business colleagues all over. Any other questions, Cameron or Neil? Any burning hot questions for your final one before we move on in this tech?
Ooh, you know, I feel like we hear so much about just the fantastic future and everything. Who do you think? Oh no, I can't get this question out. It's not working in my brain.
I have a question. If you wanna just go next, and then we'll wrap it up after these two.
Yeah, I'll go after you.
Cool. I want to know what event in the past of your life, what event was the catalyst, I guess, for putting you on the path of technology? Because I feel like that's not something necessarily everybody decides, like, I want to dedicate the rest of my life to technology. So what did you see? Who did you see that really made you say, I want to do this with my life?
Yeah, great question. You know, I had no interest in technology at 7 years old when I went to robotics camp. And I always say Miss Dorothy Wiggins was that person that I had no clue even who she was. At the time, she went to my youth pastor, Reverend Robert and Audrey Royal, and she wanted to sponsor a child. She was retired and she wanted to give back and she wanted to donate. And at the time, my mom and parents, she was still working on her degrees that she later got all the way up to master's. And she was really, she was in that working mode. And so she wanted to sponsor and donate a child. And so my youth pastor selected me because I played the piano. Mom had me in piano lessons. My parents had me in piano lessons when I was younger. And so they just figured, hey, she played the piano, maybe she'll be good in technology. And so I knew nothing about technology until I went to that robotics camp that was in the suburb of Michigan, Romulus, Michigan, to be exact. And that was the beginning at 7 years old of my journey in technology. When I went to that camp, and we was held about 2 weeks, and then every summer thereafter, we were introduced and engaged and exposed to all this phenomenal technology that they had in the suburbs that I had no idea about, and the community that I lived in, middle class community in Detroit. And so that exposed me to a world of technology that I didn't even know existed. And from then, I got my first computer, Texas Instrument 994A. I can still tell you the history from on there. Google that. And then I got my first robot called Topol. And before this event is over today, I'll show you my robot. I found him. They did a documentary on CNN and they featured Topol. I was like, there's Topol, my robot. I haven't seen him in over 40 years. And I'll show you guys that if somebody remind me before we get off today. My robot, he's now on the internet. He's over 40 years old. From when I was a child, I was so excited. I was screaming at the television as though he could hear me. But anyway, I hadn't seen Topol since I was a kid, and I got excited. They did a documentary, the 70s and 80s on CNN, and I saw my robot as a child. It's called Topol. Google him. I'll pull him up before we leave today. And then so that was what kicked off my passion and desire for technology. And from there on, I was hooked. I learned every aspect. I used to build computers, hardware. I learned how to take them apart and put them together. That's before I was 10, 11 years old. Every area of technology. My background includes, I worked for the government, Department of Defense and Energy on several contractors that were contracted with the government, my early part of the career. So I worked every aspect of technology, from hardware to software to, software development. We have mobile app. We created our own app. And then now digital marketing, which I love, programming, database, worked there as well. Worked for the Las Vegas Valley Water District and Information Systems Department. And it just on the Nellis Air Force Base, and then also Indian Springs Air Force Base, and just so many places. I can go on. And so that was, but at 7 years old, that was the kickoff. And I worked in the hotel industry here as well. First African-American in Polo Towers executive office, and Alexis Park, first African-American in their executive office, actually took over their computer department while I was still working another job while in college, Alexis Park Resort. Shout out to Mr. Louis Habash. I'll never forget the chance he gave me. I'm literally running all the computers as a college student. The chance he gave me after I was fired from the bank that I told you all about, as I built and saved for my business. Anybody else?
Okay, I got my question all sorted out now. After 2 brain farts, I totally got it. If you could go back to your younger self, what would be one thing you'd tell yourself?
If I could go back to my younger self, I would tell myself and remind myself, don't listen to the naysayers, block out the noise of people that say technology is too hard, robotics is for men, the engineering is for men. Tune out and block out the voices of those people around me that can say, you should go in nursing like your mom, or you should go in whatever. Don't pursue the dream that's inside of you. Or more importantly, they would say, this was the big one I heard my entire life, you should be a secretary. Since you type so fast, I forgot to tell you guys, I used to win all the national competitions typing over 150 words a minute. Never met anyone that could type faster than me, except Cortez Peters, who is in the Guinness Book of World Records. I had an opportunity to meet him since I was a state champion. He's also African-American. I tell all our students about him. Google him and his dad. They own typing and companies, Cortez Peters in the Guinness World Records, typed over 300 something words a minute. So that's all me humble, typing over 150 words a minute. Always kept me humble because I didn't think I could type fast because of after meeting him, I'm like, I can't even type next to him. But anyway, to answer your question, those naysayers and those that said you should just be a secretary, you type so well, just be a secretary. You'll make, you'll do good there, and you don't need to be a computer programmer, or you don't need to be a computer database programmer. You can just be a secretary since you start. So, since you type so well, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with being a secretary. I actually was secretary in the first part of my career and supporting my mom, and then also at the church before I left. But that was not my end goal. And nor was it, if I had listened to everyone, I would just, I would be a secretary. And again, don't hear me wrong. There's absolutely nothing wrong with being a secretary, but it wasn't what the career goal that I was intended and created to be, which was a computer programmer, which was my true calling and my true career that I was designed to be, my career choice.